Hey everybody, good to be back with you here on this Monday. Wow, what a weekend we just had. Kicked off on Friday night with the landing, successful landing, thank goodness, of the Artemis 2 crew. And then, and just the celebrations behind that, needing to see something go right. And it was just precision all the way down the line. Incredible to witness that. Then we had Orban kicked out, right? Bye, you out of here. That was quite something, and a foreshadowing many here in the U.S. are feeling about what's going to happen here for the midterms. It was just some additional muscle. I did not realize the extent to which Orban's regime provided sort of a basis, if you will, for Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation. That so much of what we've seen play out that's in Project 2025 was in fact scripted, if you will, based on Orban's 16-year reign of terror, or whatever you want to call it. So that was really interesting. They're saying folks at the Heritage Foundation are panicked because, hey, guess what? These things can be taken down. All of these fascist regimes and plans that you have can be taken down. So that was, wow, that was just amazing, and absolutely wishing the people in Hungary and this new president, who everybody's like going gaga for, right? What is he, 45 years old? What's his name? Peter, I wrote it down, Peter Magyar. Yeah, they're like, yes, and on to boot, the man is hot. So it's just been really joyful and needed, and fuel to add to the resilience here in the United States to try and not try to do something about it in November. Here's where I want to get to, you all. The biggest loser of this weekend was none other than JD Vance. He's been set up a number of times. I've been getting from Spirit that a lot of what we see, these moves that he's making, he's being pushed to make these moves to dim his chances for 2028. Spirit has said forever that there was no real political future for JD. Mostly because he didn't have support and he was disliked. But now he's also getting, check for a losing record that Trump seems to be manufacturing for him. When he sent him over there at the last minute to try and boost Orban's chances, they already knew what was about to happen. And so, that loss was like, check, you failed at that. And then sent him over to Iran for the negotiations on Saturday. No real diplomatic experience, no setup, no planning. That was an abject failure, right? Some mud on his face behind that. I'm wondering, connect the dots to that with Trump being in Miami this weekend, meeting with DeSantis, also going to that UFC thing with Rubio, right? Rubio seems to be right there under, the two of them are hanging tight. Is he deliberately derailing JD Vance? Is Trump deliberately derailing JD Vance? That's what I'm getting. The bottom line, he's made up his mind. He does not want to see him succeed. And he's even thinking in the event of his demise, which we're going to get into that in a minute as well, his increasing demise, that knowing that Vance is next in line, but he wants to set something up that Vance won't be able to hold on to the reins. All right, we have the Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I'm reading with, for those of you who follow tarot, I'm reading with the United States of Tarot today. We have the Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, he's outlived his usefulness to him, or to the extent that he ever had it. And there's the Five of Wands, this conflict. Because remember, JD basically said, when all of this stuff with Iran started, he said, well, if we go in, we're going to make sure it's really short. It'll just be a quick airstrike in and out of there, nothing prolonged. Look what's happening. There's a conflict that Trump feels with him. He's angry with him as having JD having positioned himself as being oppositional to what Trump wanted to do. We have the Three of Cups. This is not just Trump aligning himself or making these moves to humiliate JD deliberately. And this is also people within his orbit, his inner circle, who do not want to see JD advance. Because the Three of Cups can be a gossipy kind of card, and here comes the Devil. You know, it's interesting. I'm getting you all that, remember, if I'm not mistaken, it was Don Jr. among others who swayed Trump toward selecting JD as his VP. He didn't want JD. He didn't care about JD. He wasn't, you know, it wasn't really his cup of tea. And there's the Devil. He feels Trump wants to break the chains. He feels bound to JD to a certain extent. He can't remove him as vice president. He doesn't have the power to remove him, but he also wants to make moves to break the chains, to basically set JD adrift. Spirit, is he doing this because he's chosen Marco Rubio? Is he trying to position Marco Rubio to ascend? The Nine of Swords. I didn't expect that. Because that's a card of stress and worry. Two of Swords, no, not necessarily. He doesn't have any real allegiance to Rubio. Rubio's good to prop him up right now, but that's not it either. So he's not going after JD because of Rubio. He's just going after JD because he's angry that JD kind of sort of bucked him on Iran. King of Wands. Yeah, he's just angry because that's JD, Leo. He's angry that JD has those aspirations to replace him. He's angry just over that fact. And there's the Four of Wands. I love in this deck they're showing Obama and Biden, but think about that in the context of a genuine collaboration, genuine support, mutual support for one another, compared to what he does not have with JD. So that's really interesting that he's these moves are being made to absolutely humiliate JD and ruin whatever chances he may have had to garner the support to launch a real chance at 2028 and beyond. So it's not happening. Now, in addition to that, though, you all saw he's upped the ante. Trump has woo, watch the tongue. Trump has upped the ante with this struggle, or whatever you want to call it, with against Pope Leo. What are you thinking? 53 million Catholics? And I'm getting that also ties into JD, because Spirit brought this up last week in one of the readings, that remember, JD is this avowed Catholic, as is Marco Rubio for that matter, and many others. And so you're going after the Pope. I'm thinking that he's also putting JD in a really awkward bind with his faith, quote unquote. I'll put that in quotes. With his faith and the stance that he might be called to take on what Pope Leo is saying about the war, and coming out and speaking about the war, and what really is or is not biblical, while Trump and the MAGA movement is trying to make all of this hegseth, trying to make all of this, a religious thing with this cultish behavior. Here's what I'm wondering. He put out that picture, most of you have probably seen it by now, this AI-generated image that Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday, showing himself as the Christ, healing what really most people are saying looks like Epstein. That's such a bridge too far. Everybody's going ballistic about that. Like, that was a red line he should not have crossed. But when he had lunch with DeSantis yesterday, when he met DeSantis down in Miami, he was overheard as having said, but they didn't hear the rest of the statement. He said, I'd give up the presidency for, and then they couldn't hear it. It was garbled. He looked horrible, bloated, blown up, tired, You know, it was really hard to watch. Does he want out? Secretly, you all, I'm getting, you know, the madness, the absolute madness. It's almost as if he's provoking somebody to stop him. Spirit, he knows he's going. He knows he's on borrowed time. Spirit is from. And I just looked down and saw that I forgot again. I'm sorry, I did that a couple of weeks ago. I forgot to plug up my external mic, so I'm hoping the sound quality is okay today. Does he want out? In his madness, does he want out? Is he losing the will? Does he want out? The Five of Wands, he's battling within himself, and his energy is waning. And this is mental energy, of course. Does he secretly want out? Does he want somebody? The Six of Wands. Something happens with him in June. That's his birthday month as well, right? He wants to make it to Spirit's confirming Ace of Swords. He's really hung up on making it to his 80th birthday. And goodness only knows what he's going to try and plan around that. And the Ace of Pentacles, Spirit is doubling down on that. Two aces back to back. So that's his focus. He just wants to make it to his birthday. He wants to make a big tada around his birthday. But after that, is he out? Does he want? Does he even care anymore? Is there a part of him, the Wheel of Fortune? He sees, you know, he's gone into the Mad King era, but he also recognizes that karma's coming for him. And I'm saying that because what I'm getting from Spirit, you all, is some of this, you know, posting, and it's not the first time that he's done that, right? He's posted some really, really, you know, disturbing stuff in the past. But amping this up with Pope Leo is taking it to the next level, where he's turning off. You think about Latino and Hispanic voters who really did tilt the scales in his favor. Legit of the, you know, voter tampering aside, but there were huge numbers that voted for him in those communities, and those communities are largely Catholic. What earthly reason would you have to turn people off this way? We have the Hierophant, government, and a leader of government. Is this because he does not want it anymore? He recognizes he knows he's not going to make it to 2028. He knows he's not going to make it to 2028. He knows he won't see this term through. And we have the Ten of Cups. That's going back to the birthday celebration. I'm telling you, in his mind right now, you all he can see is June. That's all he can see is June. He wants to make it there. The King of Pentacles. That's somebody helping him or planning his birthday celebration in June. The money that he wants to spend, and all the events, and judgment. He knows judgment is coming for him. He does know that. Even in his delusion, he knows that judgment will not be kind to him. And there's a part of him that's even saying, and the Star, absolutely. He knows that he's going under. And there's a part of him that doesn't even care anymore. It's almost like he doesn't have any more wins in him, and he knows that. He's grifted as much as he can grift. He's not going to live long enough to enjoy the grift. He's done. He's cooked. And there's a part of him it's almost this, with that post, it's almost this self-defeating behavior. Like, what do I have to do to make you take me down? Like, just don't even care anymore. All right. Now, here's the other piece, the last piece I want to look at today. Why did David Axelrod meet with the Pope in Rome last week? Chicago-based, both of them, right? And now we're hearing whisperings of, meanwhile, Pope Leo has said he's not going to come. He had planned, I guess, to come and celebrate the U.S.'s 250th celebration in July. And in the wake of everything that's happened, he's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not coming. Axelrod meets with Pope Leo last week, apparently, a planned visit. And while Axelrod is playing coy and saying, Obama's not necessarily, we didn't talk about an Obama meeting. However, in February, Barack Obama said on Brian Tyler Cohen's podcast that one of the people he would most like to meet and sit with is Pope Leo, the Chicago connection, Pope Leo being an incredible world leader. We know Obama has been coming out and being very vocal about the war in Iran. Are we going to see, I'm getting sometime between when Obama's library opens up, June 19th in Chicago, and the 250th anniversary, will we see a meeting between Pope Leo and Barack Obama? That's important on a number of levels. That Spirit has said we're going to see a different kind of leadership and a coalition of leadership that's going to change and shift the U.S. government. But that also is going to send him, think about the timing, June, July, his birthday, and then he wants to do this big hurrah for the 250th. That's going to send him just over the edge. Spirit, will we see a meeting between the Pope and Barack Obama? We have the moon. It's being talked about for sure. We have death. I see that as a rebirth, because we know that death very often signals a rebirth. And this is about a rebirth, especially talking about the 250th anniversary of the U.S. This is a rebirth of a different type of U.S., a different type of governance. Death, too, even notice in this deck, there's the Confederate flag in there, right? A shift away from that. Two cards just came. Eight of Wands. There's some discussions about how to make it in the Two of Wands. Focused, future focused, and communications. You all, there's some communications around that. And even though, like I said, David Axelrod was being coy, why is David Axelrod one of the top advisors, historically anyway, to Barack Obama? Why is he over in Rome meeting with the Pope? And that conversation was not had? Yeah. The Six of Pentacles, an opportunity for Barack Obama to meet with the Pope. The Queen of Pentacles, she is a Capricorn. That feels like Michelle. The Seven of Wands, encouraging the people of the United States to continue to fight the good fight. The Eight of Swords are the fears of this administration's fears of how that would further undermine the MAGA movement, because they're sinking, and we have strength. I don't think it's a done deal, but I do think it's being discussed. And I do think that the timing of it, strength comes in Leo. Leo would be in that late July time frame. So that's past the 250th anniversary. The Five of Swords, they want to keep it quiet. The Princess of Cups, they want to keep it quiet. But it is desired. And the Princess of Swords, communication. So there's I feel like Spirit is telling me I'm getting out in front of, I'm putting the cart before the horse a little bit on this, you all. But there is some energy there. I'm going to stand on that. There's some energy there. There was just no way that casually, David Axelrod is over in Rome having a conversation with Pope Leo. That, not with the opening of the library, of Obama's library, happening in Chicago in June, with the 250th, with the who knows what will happen with the Iran war in between now and then, right? So watch for that, because that's going to really rock Trump and the entire cabinet and this administration, to have Obama back on the scene with, again, all of the momentum heading toward Hungary, with all of this momentum heading towards the midterms. That's going to be a major problem for them. All right. Thanks so much. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Remember, chin up, shoulders back. Oh, and I want to mention a couple of quick things. Saturday, May 9th, I'm having a class talking about all of this energy. I'm giving a class on Saturday, May 9th. It's called Protect Your Energy in Chaotic Times, all right? I'll put a link to that below. You can read on my website more details about what that's going to cover. But I'm going to offer some protection and clearing rituals to help with your resiliency, help with your calm and focus and things like that. So would love to have you. Only $29. It'll be live via Zoom, and it will be recorded for a replay if you can't make it for the live Zoom. All right. So check out the link for that in the description box, or you can just go to my website, trulytouchedbytarot.com, and check the book online tab, and you'll see the class. All right. Would love to have you there. The second thing that might be beneficial for you if you're interested is on my website, in addition to the book online for the class, I have a shop tab. And over the weekend, I worked on and uploaded a PDF, almost 30 pages long, and it's called Soft and Sweet, Embodying Energy Darkness Can't Reach. Got a lot of goodies and nuggets in there. $7.77 is the number Spirit gave me. $7.77, almost 30 pages. So you can go on the shop tab on my website, trulytouchedbytarot.com, and take care of that and download the PDF immediately. I think it'll be really helpful for you. Let me know what you think. That's it. Now, chin up, shoulders back. Woo, take a breath, take a breath. Sky above, earth beneath, holding you down. Getting images of Artemis 2 again and the astronauts. Like, we're straight. Spirit got us. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.